Hello, everybody. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that uh, I heard when I was researching, essentially. And this is the fact that the people that are sick now, or what we consider sick or not well, or not socially kind of integrated, for lack of a better way to put it, are actually the people that are healthy. This was a very interesting statement, and it caused me to do a lot of more research and more studying to kind of get to the bottom of something like that. How can somebody say something that seems so reverse? This is Eric Fromm, which is a psychologist, and you can look him up and see what it is that he talks about. Um, he used it in the context of kind of the person who is neurotic, which is essentially has some kind of compensation to deal with how challenging life is. He's saying that that person is better off than the person who can kind of socially adapt to what's happening and kind of at the cost of their personality, essentially. So the person who is neurotic is still fighting to hold on to their personality despite all the kind of social and political pressures. And the person that's kind of conformed, 9 to 5, do my thing, have the house, have the dream, everything all in a row, is the person who has given up on their, let's say, personal health, who they are as an individual outside of the demands placed on them, and kind of slowly slipped into the monotony of life and put on the social mask. I should be happy, I should smile, I should say all the polite things, do all the right gestures so people accept me because I'm just like them. So, in contrast of that, he made this statement. I'm taking it in a little bit of a different way, so I just wanted to give you a little context, and you can look it up as well. But I'm taking it in the way that the pressures that we're dealing with are not conducive to human health. And because of this, we have people that seem to be put off by coping mechanisms. And we say, well, oh, look how bad that is for that person. Oh, that's tough for them. But ultimately, they are the ones that are having the appropriate response to the environment that they're in. And I've always said that the most persistent environment is the one that creates the change, right? Meaning that whatever is continuously acting on the person will slowly create that person to change. The more light it is, but more persistent it is the larger change that it will make on a very quiet level. This kind of change can go on without one noticing at all that it's happening. A good kind of, let's say, physical reference to this is as a child, you're able to do a cartwheel, do jumping jacks, all these things. Now you're an adult, you're around 40 years old, try to do that cartwheel again. The chances are, even in your mind, you know how to do it, and all you used to do is this thing, and you'll realize that your brain will most likely stop you from doing it because it's not sure that you actually can do it. Uh, but we can say that you are physically capable of doing it if you practice, but there's kind of a barrier there. Why is that barrier there? This same thing that happens to the body happens to minds and emotion. They're all one. So in seeing this, we have to really start to second guess our position on things. Do we feel anxious, upset? Do we feel unloved and uncared for? Um, why would one feel that way if everything was okay? Then you start to see that everything is not okay. So therefore, the human person has this very human response. What can cause something like that for such a large amount of people all at once? Anxiety is rising, mental health is rising, all these kind of things. This must be pretty straightforward that how we're living is not conducive to humans if humans are the ones that are having this problem. And if you take a very good look at how we deal with the environment and things like that, why would we treat ourselves any better if we're willing to do that to that? Why would we do it to ourselves? And you can start to realize if you really pay attention to our history is the um, mechanicalization, better bad way to put it, but the mechanicalization of a human has slowly been progressing to the point that the human is no longer in the mechanism. So we're working at a job, most likely. Do we have much passion for that job? Probably not. Is there much creative freedom in that job? Probably not. Do we feel satisfied after we finish that job? Mm, is it our responsibility to do something like that? Yes. And if we do that, then what's our payoff? Well, we get a pension or get to retire early or something like that. What is the cost? The cost is always our health because that is the part of the thing that we're repressing. And on top of that, as you can see over the years, that the fact that humans were able to repress emotions, which is the very distinguishing factor of humanity, that we can have emotions about things and feel a certain way. And if we don't express these things, then there is a cost of this, which is generally going to, because it's an emotional thing, the burden then will be put on the two other systems of the body that help manage stressors on the body, which is going to be mental and is going to be physical. Now that the body starts to take on more of the burden, we can say that the mental is starting to break down as well, and now is trying to force the body to see it happening by creating pains, discomforts, psychosomatic style things, injuries, a kind of over exaggeration. It seems like an over exaggeration of a challenge. Why is this thing so big? Why does it feel like a mountain when I'm looking at it and it's just a small hill? This is because in the background there's been this large pressure to repress who we are as people. So then we get large reaction to things that are smaller. This can be seen on a very one-on-one level. This can be seen on a very global or community or city style level. It's the exact same thing. It just really is a larger expression. And if you take a look at the video that I made previous about technology and that kind of pressure, generated generational health, that kind of thing, you'll see how this kind of ties together a little bit differently, but in the same context. And in this way, we have to be very, very realistic with ourselves. If we are having a stressful day, trust me, you were stressed out far before you noticed you were stressed out. You've used every single coping mechanism possible for your individual self, and they've all run out. So now you're feeling the pressure that you've always been under. And to know that, you might ask yourself, well, when was the last time I had a fun time or enjoyed something? And I'm just so happy about it. And you'd realize probably that was when you were a kid. Why is being a child so great? Because that's the last time you can remember being yourself. That's something. And if that was the last time, and now, as a kid, you're always wishing you're an adult because you can finally do the things you want to do. And now that you're an adult, you're saying, well, I wish I was a kid because then I could do all the things that I wanted to do. You see how this has a bending of reality. And it seems that children have the expression that we want to have in adult life. And this is why they say, uh, once a man, twice a child. That's the idea that you will be childlike in adult life so that you can enjoy what you always wanted to have as a child, but were too young to have. And this is, I believe, the reason why we idealize children in that sense, and they symbolize to us such a great relief of burden, pressure, of judgment, of all these other kind of things, a carefree style of living. In adult life, you have to earn it. You were given it once, and now you know what it's like, so therefore you'll always seek this thing. But we can't seek it by passively hoping for it to happen. We do have to refine our self-expression, our personal health. The idea is not just how much you can generate as a human battery in revenue, in appreciation, in kind of acceptance, but how much you can really enjoy life. We only live once, we might as well enjoy it. How do we do so? We can't particularly do so until we start to appreciate it for what it is, and that is our first time at the whole thing. So we might as well enjoy our challenges. This is not to say that you need to throw off all your responsibilities and not do things that are needed. It's probably good to work and make money for sustaining life, the needs of the body. It is good to have family and relationships and friendships. That is also good, so we shouldn't just throw those away. But the idea is that we live more within our means by understanding the cost of living outside our means. So if you think that this person ideally is simple, a superstar is so great, you have to realize there's a cost to that, and are you willing to pay that cost? Maybe, maybe not, but you can be fulfilled with a lot less than we are accustomed to having. In fact, there's times in life, in history, that we had very little and were very happy. This happens in childhood. This also happens generations and generations and generations ago. when there wasn't much money and you had to make do with what you had, people just made do with what they had and found more, let's say, personal fulfillment by being able to create their own happiness or their passion or seek after these things that are more important. And with all the leisure time that we do end up having, we can easily use that to follow something that we enjoy in a fulfilling way. So hopefully that kind of clarified some more things. Again, this is all from a self-care perspective, and it's also in the sense of restoring health to one. So you already have it. Let's just open it back up. And we also want to make sure that we also know that we are trying to solve the same problem that's always been trying to be solved by all different styles of health, and they're all a pursuit for the same thing. Self care is just in the sense of looking at it in a way that you have it. So, how do we acknowledge that fact? And in acknowledging it, we're able to finally experience it and enjoy it for what it is. So, have a great day, and hopefully that was insightful.